I feel comfy with this, though. I think Jackie has delivered with his PL. It's been an out-of-meta hero, but MG.Trust do play around it really well. So you are looking at a decent time for it. We'll see how far he can push it. There's a double-edged sword with the Oracle there. Like, if you get the False Promise on the PL, of course, that breaks the illusion kind of play. You got to watch that back and forth there. But it is a comfort pick. So you're looking good on both sides. The drafts are shaping up nicely. It's very even. I don't think either side has a clear draft advantage yet. We'll have to see what they show in the last picks for that one.
They've got to find a way to deal with the PL. That's really all it is right now for Neon, right? Like, and I was gonna say maybe bring out a Tide, but it was already preemptively banned from Neon. It's hard to think of any other options for that offlane that can deal with the PL really nicely. Like, you can go, say, Bloodseeker. Just abuse the Blood Right. That could be very effective with the Rupture out. I don't know, though. It's
not the best. I think a PL can dodge around it with the Doppel around the Blood. It's a longer cooldown for Doppel, though, at level 1, so maybe in the laning phase that can be impactful, but down the line, I don't think so. I think you're in a weird spot here for Neon because you've got the Earth Spirit. You could still draft the Ember, but then you'd be talking about Earth Spirit for JG on off, or perhaps a JG Rubik on off for flexing around in that way, which is pretty awkward. But the Ember is a very clear PL counter if you are worried. I think you've got room for it here. MG.Trust does not have the best of hold for an Ember Spirit, so you can get away with those slippery heroes if you wanted to for Neon.
What about... Sorry, John. I don't mean to interrupt, but what about an Underlord pickup? I think Underlord might actually fit here for Neon.
Yeah. I mean, you've got the Rubik Underlord, right? So the Atrophy and the Fade Bolt makes it hard for PL to sustain. The Root is pretty darn nice to have some additional control. I'm not fully sold on it, though. I don't think it
think about it this
solves
way.
our issues.
Think about it this way, though. You've got a frontlining Underlord. PL obviously likes extended team fights, right? It's not going to end instantly with a PL. It's going to be a long time. Your team fight's going bad. Underlord pops the Dark Rift, and you're all out of there. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking for Neon Esports right now.
That's true. I mean, the avoidance is great. I worry about your entire draft just running away, though, like every single time. It doesn't bring enough offensive capabilities against the PL. And I think in the end, if you're just using Dark Rift to get out, or Reality Rift to get out, it's not as strong. Wow, it's MG.Trust. They're not joking around. They go with a Viper. So the mid lane matchup, if that is an Earth Spirit mid, that's not going to have a good time against the Viper. I think MG.Trust have set themselves up well with their closer here. Neon, we've got to find out. That Underlord you mentioned, still pretty viable. If they can kind of play around the timings there, just play the objective game, avoid bigger engagements, the Underlord will reward them. But we've got to see, because if you do go Underlord, it's an Earth Spirit mid against Viper.
Preemptive warning, by the way, John, and I know I gave this warning the other day as well, but there appears to be a crazy storm going on outside, and I just saw my lights flickering a bit, so I'm gonna hope that nothing happens with the power, but just in case the stream shuts off, don't worry, I'll try to get it up ASAP if something happens. The power's never gone out in this house, so let's hope it stays that way.
Hopefully.
Neon Esports, last pickup. Against the Viper, obviously things get pretty tough for the side of Neon Esports. But, oh, okay, Treant Protector pops out. Not the one I was really thinking about here for Neon, but see if they can make it work, and it is going to be a mid-profit. They're going to run JG Earth Spirit.
Yeah, I mean, no way you want the Earth Spirit mid against the Viper. I think that's way too big of a risk, so I like the switch out. This is sort of still playing into the concept you had with the Underlord, right? It's not quite teleporting your team out, but you are split pushing like a beast here on Neon. You've got the Drow NP, you can melt towers fast, with your Veno support here as well. So there's a lot of opportunities to just go with the objective game, trying to avoid the bigger fights until you build up, say, an Orchid on your pod, or maybe even a Bloodthorn's going to be necessary. But once you reach that point with a BKB, the Nature's Prophet can right-click. Drow at some point with a BKB can right-click as well. I think that's a prerequisite considering the control here. Going to be a great back and forth. Neon, I do believe that they are going to go for the faster objective game. It's a Drow NP and a Veno. They're going to look for the early objectives, maybe find pickoffs, avoid the bigger fights, and kind of rinse and repeat until they take tier 1s, maybe start digging into tier 2s. MG.Trust, it's a stall game. You just want Jackie to find space, build up in the PL. We're going to be seeing probably diffusal into Manta or diffusal into SNY, into something bigger down the line. And once you're there, the PL can join these fights, but it's a process for the PL. It takes time to farm up, and that is something this lineup from Neon can abuse. So it's down to them to be the aggressors. It's down to them to really dictate the early game and try to maximize that map while the minutes are young.
See how this one pans out. Neon Esports versus Motivate.Trust. One of these teams is going to have to leave the tournament today. One of them will proceed to the next bracket. The lower bracket round of 3, of course, where they'll either have to go up against TNC or New Esports. That one we'll be finding out after this series. But for now, Neon versus Motivate, game 1. I guess I'll ask you as well, John, just before we do start the game, who has the better draft in your opinion?
I'd say MG.Trust.
Okay.
I think I have more faith in these 4 heroes buying the space out, stalling out the push, compared to how much Neon needs to get done to really succeed with this early game draft. I mean, they need to melt these objectives fast. They're going to have a rough time mid. I mean, it's not as bad as Earth Spirit versus Viper, but NP versus Viper is still not ideal as well. The Viper can still play around with his damage. I believe the range, you do have a slight range advantage on your punch, like 25 units more of attack range, but that's not enough to really completely dance around a Viper. So we'll see how much they can push out there. I think Fearless, it's very important for him to dominate his lane to prevent that snowball push from happening, and the Viper kind of simplifies that process, and that's really it. I think Jackie's P also has performed before. Masaras has been very consistent in the off lane, and all of them are really sacrificial. It really enables a core player like Jackie to just shine, and that's going to be key for MG.Trust. I just think that they've got the heroes to play their roles perfectly and get those timings up.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you, but I'm kind of putting it on whether your Parsh can get a quick Orchid up on that Prophet. If we see a very fast Orchid build up onto your Parsh, which I believe he has already queued it up, if he can get it fast enough and they can just hunt the PL over and over again, then I think Neon will finish the game really quick. But if your Parsh does not have a good performance in that mid-Nature's Prophet, I think the game's over as well for them. So they're not going to be able to contest the PL later on. But we'll find out, John, because we do have the resume now between these two teams. I've got to tell you, the odds are very even on the loop bet odds. $1.82 to $1.92, so only a 10-cent difference. In Motivate.Trust, they are the slight favorites.
Ooh, that's honestly, I find that's a bit surprising, but considering that they did come from the upper bracket, I guess that does make sense. Still, you know, you mentioned like electricity spikes in your area, Mike. In the Philippines, I believe there's an internet disruption. There's a notice given out by, the big company PLDT that there's some maintenance work, so it shouldn't affect the line to Singapore, to the servers, but you never know how it happens, and I'd expect this to be something that pops in throughout the day from the Filipino teams.
Well, being from Australia, John, we know how it feels to have shitty internet, so don't worry. It's, you think at this point the governments would kind of realize that the internet might be like a good future investment, but, they're a little bit slow, the governments out there, John.
Yeah.
A little bit slow, Maybe in the 3000s or something, like year 3000, we might actually, I don't know. But how much more obvious can it be, though, right? Like, we're in 2020, everything's on the internet, and there's governments out there in the world that are just still sitting there like, yeah, but we don't really need that quick internet, right? We can save the money, maybe invest in this or that. It's like, I think the internet might be pretty important, Mr. Government. Holy moly! Holy moly! Some
if
people
only they taught that way.
You'd think so, though, wouldn't you? These people are paid professionals, apparently. Paid professionals. I mean, if there was volunteering, I wouldn't blame them. They're like, well, hell, they're volunteers.
It's a lovely joke, Mike.
It's not even a joke, John. It's reality. That's what happens in the world. Anyway, moving on.
It's a long pause. Who do we have? This guy, John Newell. Poor guy. This is what you get for picking Venno. It's Boom Belches. JG. What's the moo? I don't get it. I don't get it, JG. What do you mean? Well, at least. Oh, okay. Wow, really friendly.
Yeah, I mean,
Really friendly.
I don't see why not.
What would miss you?
What's Warwick?
I think it's a person.
Ah.
I think it's someone they know, probably. At least Masaros is not throwing out cuss words here. Oh, God. Play hard.
Don't talk about this kind of stuff. Play hard, please. We've had this happen before. Just be careful, sir. MG.Trust.
Yep. There you go. All right, we're fine. Tips are out from Play Hard for whatever reason. These boys are in a good mood, Mike. Should be a fun one. It's always nice seeing teams in a good mood before the fight breaks out. And, well, MG.Trust, they don't have their signature 5-man into bot or the signature 5-man into the triangle. So, no shenanigans over those minute 1 runes, unfortunately.
Nope. Not yet, anyway. We've still got 40 seconds till they do spawn up. But, looks like it should just be a 2-for-2. JG's going to push at the top lane, make sure that nobody can go into those bounties. Gonna have a quick look to see what Jackie's up to, but Jackie is actually just hiding in the tree line as we speak, making sure he gives no information away.
Oh, they actually swapped the lanes. Didn't even notice, but Masaros is playing mid.
Well,
On the Mars.
okay.
This is perfect. Like, you get to feed off the treants, you are durable enough to cop the right clicks as well, and you give your Viper a more dominant lane to shut down. It's going to be the Viper up against the Drow, and the Drow will not enjoy that. Most definitely not. You have an attack range advantage for sure, but once the right clicks come in, and with this early tri-lane MG.Trust is looking to run, they might be able to run down Scam early on.
That they might. Upaj might have a bit of a harder time here up against Masaros. You certainly can't bully the Mars out, that's for sure. So Masaros just going to be fine to tank all the damage, especially once he hits that level 2, level 3 mark and has the Bulwark up. Upaj will be very limited as to what he can do, but we'll see if he can just focus in on the CS, because that's really what's going to be important this game for him. Again, he does want that quick Orchid. Just a matter of whether he can get it. Having the top lane, though, Jackie and Boombill going to be up against each other, or rather with each other, up against Play Hard and, of course, JG on the Earth Spirit. Should be a bit of a challenging lane for the Earth Spirit, I'd say. Like, JG is pretty tanky, but it may not be too easy for him. And bot lane, Januel, already going to go down. Q, able to pick up the kill on the Tiny.
Yeah, it's just that potent lane. It's a Viper plus a Tiny. There's a lot of damage that flies in. Again, you have to watch your spacing here if you're Neon. You are finding last hits with Scam. But if it comes at the cost of these early kills, that's exactly what the Tiny wants. He needs kills to get some EXP. Januel has his work cut out for him in his positioning here.
Scam.
Yeah.
Avalanche comes out. Q does not opt to toss. I do really like this, though, from Motivate.Trust, right? Because now with the Viper down at the bot lane, it's going to make it so the Veno can't do anything. And Skem's always going to have to kind of watch his back, because if they do go into the toss play, he's just not going to be able to get out of there.
Yeah, it's a really solid lane for MG.Trust to maintain. They are trying to punish, though. They land a Gale.
Fearless wants to try and fight back up against Skem, but he's been slowed up a lot now. But the neutral creep's helping out. Januel getting stunned up by the Centaur, not able to close the gap on Fearless. Now he does, but it's a bit too late, and Fearless will be forced to back off and probably use that salve to get himself back up to full HP.
Yeah, it's a lot of investment on the regen, but I think you're doing your job here, just making the Veno a non-factor, as you mentioned, and just getting some EXP. I think once you've got level 3, level 4 in Q, that's going to line up with the 4-minute power runes, and that's going to enable you to have some control out, and they're going to go for a play.
Now that bot lane, Toss, Genuel, going to have to just TP out of there. They'll ignore him. They're just happy he's gone back to the fountain, and now they can just bully Skem. And this is the beauty of the draft that MG.Trust have, right, with this dual lane, because Skem's just stuck now.
Oh,
he's gone. Fearless is going to slowly but surely kill him. Avalanche in from Q. In fact, they'll give the kill to the Tiny, which might be even better, because that's going to help him get his Blink Dagger faster.
Yeah, and, you know, you're getting levels up here in the bot lane. Q Once he hits 4, again, might just line up with that 4-minute bounty rune timing. It's going to help Masaros a ton in getting control. And speaking of Masaros, his last hits haven't faltered. They've been matching Yapaj. And Yapaj is, of course, you know, trying to maximize his TPs by going back for regen. But you're not slowing down to Mars. At the same time, the NP is not being slowed down, so that Orchid timing you talked about might still be fairly timely here for Yapaj. Still rather important you find that at maybe before the 10-minute mark is up.
Well, top lane, JG, he's going to cop a lot of damage here on the Earth Spirit. They aren't going to follow him down too far. That'll give him a chance to salve up. But leaving JG up here by himself could be a bit detrimental. Now, of course, Playhard, he did want to go for that 4-minute power rune. Unfortunately, does not get lucky. And Masaros will be able to bottle up an Arcane. But every time you leave that lane, JG, he's going to have a tough time sustaining himself.
Yeah, it's been way slower for start. There's a lot of pressure here on Playhard to keep asserting the space out. Jackie's still finding a good amount of farm here. Now, you are kind of having the same time with both offlaners. So it's like, Fearless is also kind of struggling in last hits, but the difference is MG.Trust did find those kills. The kill prospect for Neon up top isn't as easy to pull off. So I think you're just really here to slow that farm down, and it doesn't feel like it's been enough yet. Jackie's still in a very comfy spot on that PL.
Certainly is. Well, Skem is still farming okay as well on that drought. Just a couple last hits behind Jackie, but it's not all too bad at all. He's been really sticking by that tier 1 bot tower, just not going any further, at risk of course, getting tossed back to the Viper. But John Newell may just be dead here as Q gets a toss back eventually. Fearless, just going to force another TP away. Back to the fountain for the Veno. He is just stuck at level 2 right now as Fearless just continues going on to Skem. Skem's trying to fight back, but Fearless just doesn't seem to care. But now Yapaj might TP in and does. With the Sprout out onto Fearless, he got that Nature's Wrath off. Fearless trying for the TP play, will not be able to make it out. They even bring Playhard in to get the Fade Bolt off. It's a lot of commitment, but they do get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, it's an important kill to slow down the Viper. I think you are giving a bit too much space up top in exchange for JG. I mean, again, he's not applying the pressure on Jackie.
Nice
Jackie's
arena.
still alone, and
yeah, mid lane, Yapaj getting caught out by an unexpected arena from Masaros. And that is a huge kill to pick up for MG.Trust.
Yeah, it's just slowing down the pace. You talked about the Orchid. It is being queued up. Again, it's still maintained there, but every single death will offset your build up into it, which means that you're going to have to play in that jungle, sharing it with Skem. Not the ideal. You're going to have to watch your spacing there. Masaros already off to a fantastic start. Number 2 in net worth here. Still has a regen rune as well. Every single power rune going the way of MG.Trust. This is a pain point for Neon. They need to reel in some control there because the Mars, with all these power runes, just gets to continue to farm up uncontested for the most part.
A 1-3 Motivate, still looking really good. Jackie, he's just rotating out of the jungle, giving over some free space and farm to Boombell on the Oracle. With this, of course, Boombell should be able to get a very nice level 6 timing on this Oracle if he does manage to just stay alive in this lane. Jackie can just easily take the neutrals and the stacks that were made for him. Yeah, it takes a bit of time, but he'll eventually get there. Top lane, however, Boombell could be in a spot of danger, but Masaros is going to TP in with the arena onto JG, and JG's just stuck there. He does go down. They do eventually get Boombell. Now the question is, can they get Masaros? And the answer is no. They cannot. Playhard is going to try and just run away now, but Masaros not going to bother trying to chase. We'll leave him be. Still a positive trade out for Motivate.Trust though.
Yeah, definitely. Offlaner for a support. And your support found a kill before he died. So, good trade overall. Still finding that good progress. I love that Skem is up here, though. They are trying to go for the tier 1 tower trade at the 8-minute mark, but it's just a bit too much commitment from MG.Trust. So you're going to need more numbers. They do drag up JG once more. They might be looking for another kill opportunity.
They may. Pretty tough, though, while Masaros is around, but they want that tier 1 tower. They'll start forcing it in. Masaros will go for a smoke with Boombell, but that was pinged out. They know that it is happening. The smoke should really lead to nothing. It's Neon. Will take down that tier 1 top. Pretty much uncontested. And while they're doing that, Jackie is doing the exact same thing down at the bot tier 1. And he does manage to get a very even trade for himself. And of course, he is already in a position now to just farm up where he wants. But mid lane, play hard. Well, I said the smoke wasn't going to lead to anything, but play hard apparently runs into them.
Yeah, not the idea there. They were trying to intercept towards the mid-tier one. I think they understood this would be immediately next for MG. They just want to apply that pressure, counteract Neon's push by getting their own push off. And, well, they're going to have to defend.
Avalanche is going to be there in time. He does get the silence off, but they got the arena with the spear out. They want it back, however. There's a lot of TPs coming in from Neon. They will protect JG and go back onto Boombell, who will go down on the Oracle. They want a bit more. Q is still around the corner there on the Tiny. Looks like he's been caught out. Great boulder smash out from JG, and Q will be the secondary to fall here for Motivate.
See you later, nerd.
As they do overextend, and they do give away 2 kills.
Yeah, really important for Neon to find those kills. Successful defense down the mid as well. So they hold on to the tower, don't take too much damage. Motivate, they've got to temper back the aggression a bit. The arenas have been on point though. Masaros has been trying his best. But you're not quite topped up on your other cores. Fearless doesn't quite hit like a truck yet, doesn't have a value point in the Viper Strike. So the DPS is not as high. They're going to have to sit back, maybe get some farm going. When you have a blink up in Masaros, it gets easier to find bigger targets. And when you finally do get the defusal on Jackie, she's going to hit like a truck. So you just have to wait that initial farm out and try to buy some space out. Neon, for their part, are doing that fine. And Januel's getting some space now in the Veno to get his own farm going, trying to get the EXP up. Once you've got the Poison Nova up, you can take these team fights a lot cleaner for Neon. And of course, you've got a lot of space just being made for Scam and for Yapaj. That build up into the Orchid, not too far off now, Mike. Once that's up, expect Yapaj to take more activity on the map.
Poor Playhard. He tried to steal the spear away and gets the Bulwark instead. That kind of sucks for him. He doesn't even have his shield up. Just gotta have this ability.
When he toggles it on. Does something show when he toggles it on or not? Wait.
Nah. Fearless.
Fearless?
Nice TP out. We'll make it just fine.
There's really no effect for turning Bulwark on? That's kind of lame.
I mean, I'm sure he gets the actual effect, but there's nothing that shows up.
That's
as in
sad.
the visuals.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. Like, Bulwark is a toggle, but you can't... Can you steal something like Mana Shield? I don't recall. I actually forgot.
I can't remember now.
Right?
That's a good question.
Well, I guess we'll never see that because, again, only Boom tends to pick that Medusa, so we'll find out in a different time. It's still the game. It trudges on. Farming game for both sides. Skem going into that Dragonlance here, Mike. Should about have it up. So we're looking at Tree Rate Bands, Power Treads, and Dragonlance up. Or Drow is going to be hitting like a truck. Something to watch out for. But the Diffusal, it's up for Jackie. He might look to join some fights now. Is saving up for a Hood of Defiance next, just to get some durability up. And I love that play. Jackie, he just wants to fight early. With that Hood of Defiance up, when it's up, it's going to make it a lot harder to burst down this PL.
Neon, they're starting to posture in the mid lane. Lift up. Might be able to get anything done here, but they are still going to stick around. Skem, he's got a double damage rune active. A lot of damage out of this Drow with that Dragonlance up, and now the Orchid even up for the side of Neon, but smoked up. They weren't under vision for that one. Masaros going to break the smoke, however, quite easily. T1 tower still dropping, but Masaros, he gets the arena off onto the Drow. They're just going to rush Skem now and try to take him out, and they do. But that's so much damage coming in from the Nature's Wrath and from the Magnetize out of JG. Oh, they are just going to melt. Yapaj comes in there with the Nature's Prophet. Jackie is trying to survive, but he cannot. And even Q, he'll be able to run out on the Tiny. But man, that Nature's Wrath into the magnetized damage, it was just way too high.
That hurt MG.Trust clumping up a bit too hard. Didn't quite get the perfect arena they were looking for. A lot of heroes were stuck outside. They couldn't get some good damage on. And they were punished. Really good play from Neon to counteract that one. They find a mid-tier 1 as well, so that's the objective they were really looking for. Opens up the map for deeper rotations. And MG.Trust, well, not the greatest reveal for Jackie. He does perish for joining these fights early. Is shifting up his build. He's going for the Manta style instead of the HOD. So no Hood of Defiance, no magic resist being built up. Just some straightforward self-purge, maybe some juke opportunities as well. We'll see how long it takes to build into that one. Neon, 1k lead up. And this lineup, we talked about it, but it snowballs hard. They've got that early Orchid on Yapaj. And he can just be such a monster when he jumps in now. The potential for pickoffs skyrocket here. And MG.Trust, they don't have anything to counteract that. It's going to be a bit difficult if they get caught with their pants down while farming here.
It will be. It's a matter of when they try to go to gank up Jackie now, but MG.Trust, they're the ones smoked up. Up towards that top lane, they are going to run into JG, who'll break the smoke, but a great rollout. Now the immediate TPs and MG.Trust, they're on the run. Yapaj, he does commit the Nature's Wrath. It's going to lead to nothing. Now the Dire, they just want to get back to farming within relative safety. Neon, they're not going to be able to get much out of these TPs.
Yeah, it's they get the opportunity to clear out the jungle at least, so take control up top, maybe shove in a wave, but not really able to commit for a push. Gonna trade evenly on these bounties as well. So not too much being gained by both sides, just a back and forth. Again, it's a slower game. It's much more focused on these item buildups, but I think it's fair to say that if you allow this game to go slow, Neon might be feeling a bit comfier. They're not the ones in a rush here, and they do want some early push, but MG.Trust, there's a scaling issue with their other cores. Like Fearless, the Viper does have a spike and crashes down, so does the Mars for the most part. So you want to maximize them while they're strong, and Masteras, he's been sitting in this Blink for a while, hasn't been able to find that good opportunity for the Blink arena. It's kind of a bit of a waste. They really need to start finding some pickoffs with these initiation tools in play.
They're going to smoke up again. MG.Trust towards the top lane where they might just run into Januel. It's not really the kill they want to go for though. Just the Venomancer, and yeah, they commit the arena for this. He'll try to TP out, but he is not going to be able to get out. It's just not a great kill. Like, it's a +5 Veno. He's already kind of struggling as it is. You really don't get much out of committing for that for that kill, but if you run into him with a smoke, what else are you meant to do, right? You just got to take it.
Yeah, that's all you can really do. Did he manage to take out the ward though? Although
nice avalanche toss. Does get the Rubik, and this will make it look a bit better now. This Playhard does get caught out and does go down. That's thanks to the really nice warding out from Motivate.Trust, just keeping tabs on the other side of the river.
Yeah, and ooh, that's a big loss though.
Jackie goes down.
It's the Orchid. You don't have the Manta in time here for Jackie. He's got the Hood of Defiance, but it's not enough. He needs to self-purge. And it's that timing. I mean, you talked about it in draft, but if the Orchid timing's on point, and it is, Yapaj can just take control of the PL. They're going to constantly do this if you're not careful. Jackie has to play the safe farm game, probably just stick in the jungle until the Manta's up, because otherwise he's just going to be easily punished for even showing up in lane.
Q is going to try again for an avalanche toss and does get Januel. Yapaj, however, now going to sprout him out with the Orchid, and he's going to try for the TP, but it is going to be cancelled by Playhard. And Q, well, they're going to try and help him survive, but now the Oracle also being caught out. Boombill just can't do anything to survive that. And to make matters worse, John Skem's got a Grove Bow now to play with. Even more range.
Yep, that sounds perfectly balanced. The exact kind of thing you'd want as a Drow. And of course, with that opening, straight into the pit now. MG.Trust, good scan out. They know the rush is happening. 2 heroes down, though, means they can't contest cleanly, and this looks like they might have to give that first rush up.
That they will. You got Masteros, who's sort of close by, and Neon, are they actually going to back? They are.
Huh.
maybe assuming that there might have been a smoke out from Motivate.Trust because nobody was showing on the map. But they were just hanging around in the mid lane, so they had time to do it. Just a bit scared there from Neon. That's a bit of a shame for them. That's a free Roshan they're not going to get now.
Yeah, it's a massive missed opportunity for them still. They do have some semblance of control over the pit. And there are some good boards here from MG.Trust, although they might run into each other here.
Play hard. Just going to steal some creeps away from Fearless.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. Just shows himself, takes the creeps, annoys Fearless and backs off. Yopaj is still hanging around, however, with his BKB up now, so he could definitely keep trying to maybe chase down this Viper. It looks like that's not what he really wants, though. He just wants to keep farming for that Maelstrom to come up on the Prophet. That's another nice way of dealing with the PL, of course, just having that Maelstrom into a Mjolnir. But we do have some more lag issues going on, so we'll have to wait this pause out.
Yep. You know, it is what it is. Still, you know, both sides might really even here. 11-10 at the 19-minute mark. You do have really even farm distribution as well, though it's a lot nicer for Neon. You've got Yopaj and Scam at pretty good points, surpassing our Viper and our Mars. It's only really Jackie that's pulling away here for MG. So you would want this investment in PL to pay off. They are really sacrificing the Viper farm, the Mars farm for that PL. Has to pay off. So the Manta is going to have to come up soon. Still about 1.6k gold away. Bit more farming to go. And again, Neon are fine with a farming game. Like, they've already taken some early objectives. They're in a pretty good spot to be in. They're rushing BKBs next. I mean, they've already got one on Yopaj, so he's safe to stand in front. Scam is looking like he might be saving up for a Manta. So once you've got those two ults up, well, it's going to be harder to lock in this Drow. And MG.Trust, I think it's really boiling down to team fights. They need to have Masaros blink in on the perfect target, get an immediate burst off, and they can try to take the 4v5 afterwards, but in an even fight, the damage from Neon, it's a bit too much at this point.
Still grouped up back into that Roshan pit. Neon Esports, they do go back for it, and they will be able to grab it this time. Roshan going to go over to Skem on the Drought. Everyone else from Neon just backing off. It's not too big of a net worth lead right now for Neon Esports, so Motivate, they can just sit back and relax. Keep farming the best they possibly can. They're almost at that match style now for Jackie, but are they really going to smoke before that?
No, it's a risk. This is into Aegis as well. It's not going to be a very nice play. I think they're just preempting a smoke out from Neon, so they're just trying to intercept, stay together, so when they do get jumped, they can counteract it.
Well, they're not wrong, because Fearless is about to get jumped here on the Viper. Lift is going to be there into the roll, but now the TPs are coming in from Boombill to try and get that false promise off, but he's been silenced by JG. He needs to back off from Masaros. He gets an arena on to play hard, and that'll be Rubik maybe dying, or maybe not. He survives. Not for long, though, as Masaros does eventually get him, and so does Januel, going down on the Venomancer. And Neon, they barely miss out for Motivate.Trust and getting Yopaj. Still two supports going down for Neon Esports here, and Motivate.Trust can feel a lot more comfortable across this map now.
It's not the biggest kills for them to find, but you'll take the kills anyway. It gives you a slight net worth lead. There's that Manta style on Jackie, so he is a lot less susceptible to that Orchid on Yopaj. Gotta watch yourself when you get to jump in. Still, Neon, they're not lagging behind too far. Again, very even game across the board. It's down to MG.Trust to really try to make the most of this opportunity, but the respawns are up. The Poison Nova is down for a bit longer. They might look to make their way mid. Arena's going to be up back in around 12 seconds. They could definitely force a team fight with that spell back up soon.
You start to ask yourself now as well, have Neon Esports done enough to really warrant this kind of draft, because there are still plenty of towers standing here for Motivate. All tier 2s are still up, one tier 1's still up, and Jackie is starting to get pretty huge. He's going towards that Eye of Skadi. Just wondering now, like, if Neon are gonna have enough to deal with it.
I mean, they're going to have to find a way. There's a smoke out from MG.Trust. If they keep finding these kills, that's going to stall the progress for Neon. And as you mentioned, you would at least want one of these tier 2s to melt. So you've got to be a bit cautious, as they are growing stronger in MG.Trust.
Into Yopaj, would be a huge pickoff for them, and they ping him out. Masros is there with the spear. They're going to have to follow up here with the BKB out from Yopaj. Not going to be enough.
That was...
not
the ideal. Yeah, not the ideal.
BKB TP'd and cancelled, I think, right?
Yeah. I think he accepted it. He was just melting.
Yep.
It's a lot of damage, to be fair. I think he was caught off guard. Panic BKB use, so that's a 10-second charge down. Not the ideal. Of course, MG.Trust can be very, very happy with that, as it allows them to get some damage onto that mid-tier 1. It's going to be the Manta reveal. Without the Orchid hold, be a fairly easy tower to try to melt you.
Rush in from Jackie. JG getting very, very low and is completely out of mana now, but Play Hard getting a nice lift off on the real PL. But they do not have the follow-up to it. Fearless, he is dropping a little bit low on the Viper, but still going to be fine as they roll back in now, but Mastros drops the arena back onto JG. They want that Earth Spirit, and they might just get him as he does go down. MG.Trust now wanting to back off, but Yopaj going to TP in. Back onto that Oracle. Boombill just trying to run. Look at Q though in the backlines, turning it back around for the side of Motivate.Trust. The great avalanche toss, but is it going to be enough? They false promise up Q. They've lost Play Hard on the Rubik. Now onto Yopaj, but he's BKBing up. Back to Skem. They'll get the Aegis. There goes Yopaj. He does go down to the Tiny. And now Januel also dropping. The Drow is surrounded. And Skem, he's just trying to kill off Boombill. He will finally get him, but it's not going to be worth his own life. And that was all Q on the Tiny. Just reinitiating for the side of Motivate.Trust. And Neon, they were not expecting that.
Oh man, that was a really scrappy fight as well from both sides. Making the most of it from MG, they do have the damage. And that question you posed, Mike, if they did enough, with that kind of fight leading out their lead, most definitely not. It's a 6k lead now for MG.Trust. This PL is just set to grow bigger, as you pointed out. The Skadi now very close for Jackie, and it gets a bit scary. Yeah, they need to really get more items flowing in. There's a lot of pressure put on Yopaj. I think the NP starts to take center stage a little bit more as we approach maybe the 35-minute mark. Your NP needs to be up and running, buying that space out for your Drought to try to get a lot of damage in the itemization. It's down to how long can you hold out in these towers. MG.Trust, for their part, aren't clearing out objectives as much as they'd want. I mean, they take them at tier 1. The tier 2s are still pretty healthy. So you do have a lot of map to play with here, Neon. You have a lot of map to keep farming up. You will have to farm a lot more efficiently, though. Try to prevent these deaths. Just mitigate your losses and accept that MG.Trust might be a bit too strong to deal with.
Well, that is way too obvious from Play Hard, but Boombill, did you not notice the ward being placed? Oh, he didn't?
There you go.
Alright, he does eventually get it. I was going to say, it was pretty obvious. Massaros has the arena, has the blink, has the double damage rune. With his BKB at 9 seconds. Wanting to fight again. Now Neon are just so far behind. It'd be very hard for them to try and take a team fight up against Motivate.
Oh.
Arena is going to be there with a nice spear out, and they've got JG again. JG is going to try and roll, but Fearless does have the poison damage out into that tier 2 mid bottom tower. They've got to start looking for ways to get out of this situation. Like, you haven't got enough farm on Skem. And Yopaj, he's got the Maelstrom. You'd probably prefer to see the Mjolnir at this point. But he's going to work towards the AC first, which also makes enough sense up against the PL. But look at Jackie, he's got the Eye of Skadi up.
Yeah, he's way too big in PL. I think you haven't punished a PL early on. That's what we were looking for with the Orchid pickup from Yapaj. We thought, okay, the Orchid's up, no Manta yet. That's the time to punish. Never came out beyond that 1 kill. I think that's props to MG, though. They knew what was going to happen. They played safe afterwards. They stalled it out long enough. You are set for more pain coming out, though. Like, Masaros is working towards that Desolator, so it's a right-click build on our Mars, as you tend to see it from the mid lane. Fearless is already set. He's got the Guardian Greaves in the pipe. He's had them for a while, so it makes it that much more difficult to melt through these heroes. And MG.Trust, all they really need to do now is find more towers. They set their eyes up top. There's a tier 1 to easily take. The Roche, we're gonna find out in about 20 seconds when its next respawn is. And with the top tier 1 being taken, that opens up a little bit more room there for MG.Trust to maybe sneak a Roche in as well.
Tier 1 top tower is gone. Jackie is hitting very, very hard now on that PL. We're in the mid lane, Neon. They're trying to force in this mid wave and try to get the side of the Motivate.Trust boys back. They're going to control the triangle. They don't seem very concerned about that mid tier 2. We'll go after the top tier 2 tower. It's just Jackie by himself taking it right now. Fearless will eventually come in. Neon, they're posturing around the bot tier 1 tower. Yapaj is going to spot out Masaros, but he gets the arena off onto 2, and Yapaj just BKB TPs out of it. However, Q trying to find Skem. Can't really catch him out. That's one way to force them back. But Skem or Q? He's onto it. He knows the avalanche is going to be up, but a nice silence out from JG. Not allowing the toss away, but Jackie will follow up. No, the roll is going to be there in time. Q is still wanting to get that toss back, but it is too late. It's a pretty good play out from Neon, John. They force the rotation, they save their top tier 2, and nobody dies.
Yeah, it's a nice play from Neon. I think you'd be happier if you did take that bot tier 1. It's not the biggest objective to take, but you would love the gold injection. Speaking of luck, Boomball gets a bounty from the shovel. Love to see it. Still, Neon, they're going to have to try to do that again, because now MG.Trust, they see the mid tower. They're going to try to melt it in, and the Roshan is up. So if they don't want the push, they can easily go into the pit and try to force a win out there, get the Aegis up, and play with a lot more aggression once that tool is up with the cheese as well.
MG.Trust, they are slowly moving their way there. Nice DD rune down at that bot rune spot if somebody does find it out. Yapaj sniping couriers, but they know where he is. He'll go for the TP. Q will not get the avalanche, and Masaros just a split second off getting the spear in time. Still with that, MG.Trust, it looks like they have missed their Roche timing as well. They might have to wait that one out now.
Yeah.
Neon, they are continuing to buy time.
I don't think MG.Trust actually did spot the Roche. I think Masaros walked on the border where you don't get vision inside. They might not be aware it's up. They could still try to go. I think they are pretty strong. They do smoke up. Lines are drawn. Want to find a pick off first.
Masaros. He's got a smoke up from his team. Coming into the side of Neon. Masaros would love a big arena right now, and he might even find one as he sees the multi-shot. He'll spot JG, but Q, he's the one that jumps in with the avalanche toss and play hard. Might just be dead, but Masaros preemptively BKBs up a little bit early there, but they've already got both supports, and now Scam gonna get speared by Masaros. The Yules will be out for Q anyway, and they'll get the avalanche toss. That'll be Scam gone without buyback. And, well, Yapaj, he's gonna try and split push the best he can right here, right now. Try to force MG.Trust back, otherwise they may go high ground.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a good job controlling the side lanes. They take the bot tier 1. There's a huge wave JG's trying to shove in, so it may make it a bit difficult for MG to fully commit. I don't think they mind. They're just going to go straight for the tier 2s. They do have the damage. They're going to have to sacrifice a lot of HP in those tier 2s, but you've got the numbers advantage. You take it.
The tier 3 towers. Yapaj does now pick up the AC, but there's no point in him TPing back. But now, Oh, Masaros, he's got the arena in time with a double damage rune active. Yopaj, he's going to pop the BKB, just try and TP out of there. Is it going to be fast enough? No. He does go down. And with Yopaj without buyback, he just bought the AC. That is going to be at least 1 Rax, but more than likely 2.
Yeah, it's a massive opening for MG.Trust. 14k lead now. Skem is going to be back up. Maybe they can play with her Drow, but seeing how tanky they are.
Latch, they put out JG again. He's trying to survive this one out. Toss not going to be there as Tiny is silenced. Get 1 Rax. MG.Trust, they're not going to try for the second. Looks like they are going to rush for the Roshan.
Yeah, it's the safer play. They know it should be up by now. They're going to be able to take it really quick as well. I think that will give Neon time to have Yopaj back up so they can try to contest. But that's 30 seconds. That's almost an eternity considering how hard these heroes hit. They're going to have to make a choice fast. Neon, they should know something's happening.
They know, but without Yopaj, it's hard to see them fighting this one out. It's like Neon are just going to let this one go and continue to just split push the best they can. Now Roshan going to be going the way of MG. There's the Aegis on Jackie now. Cheese on Masaros and MG.Trust. You start to wonder, John, are they too far ahead?
It's dicey. I think it's a big gap for Neon to have to close out. I like how Skem itemized. Does have the Ags on the Drow, so there is a split shot coming in to help you deal with illusions. There's not enough damage to really leverage that hard. And the best you can hope for is try to, again, shove those lanes out, but Jackie's just not going to stop.
Well, he's going for that, not only the Aghanim Scepter, but the Maelstrom straight after. And you can proc the Maelstrom off the bounces with that Aghanim Scepter. So you can proc it multiple times through 1 arrow if you do get lucky enough. This used to be the old build on the Drow, when people realized how broken it was up against PL, but Skem get it up in time. He's doing a lot of damage, that's for sure. Tier 3 tower gone now, however. Defense got a little bit harder. They're going to back off. They want Masaros to get a nice arena. Speaking of Masaros, he's got his own Ags up.
Yeah, it's
Jumps in, arena, he's got Skem on the Drow, but they need to try and rush Skem right here, right now. Q trying to go for the Avalanche, but no, he gets the 4 staff off in time. JG's going to roll out of there, and they'll have to go back towards the Rats. Like MG.Trust, looks like they've lost what they really wanted to do, and Yopaj, he was split pushing the bot lane. Meanwhile, Fearless and JG getting rolled on here. Fearless avalanched up by Playhard, but Q going to jump back in onto the Rubik. JG being harassed by Jackie is perhaps going to go down. The Doppel is there. Jackie still wanting to go and does get the kill. Now back onto Skem. Skem's out of mana, but Yopaj, he's trying to fight back with the BKB TP out now. Just going back towards the fountain. Jackie, he's not done yet. Back onto Januel. The illusions will get that job done. Onto the Rats. He still holds the Aegis. Still very, very healthy, and they've got Arena back up on Masaros. Masaros, however, is not with them at the moment. Q jumped in, but a great lift out from Playhard. Just stopping the toss back, and they're going to try and take him out down that Tiny. But the 4 staffs are there from Motivate.Trust to make sure they get him out. Jackie, he still has the Aegis, he still has the Satanic active. But they want to play it safe, and they will back off.
Yeah, I think the main issue right now is that you don't have mana in Boom Bell, so you can't expect too many spell uses out. They just go back, get a reset off. They're looking at 1 lane to shove in. Now, they did lose their tier 3, as you mentioned, from the split push of Yopaj, but nothing else. The racks are still standing. That's the important part. And MG.Trust, they've got that Aegis for 1:45 longer, and they can really choose to go in. Even the cheese is still up in Masaros. So good time to reset. They're going to be back up. They're going to have the False Promise ready to go from Boom Bell. And they even have the Ags ready to go here on Jackie. So he can start rushing around on the PL. Doesn't necessarily even need the power treads anymore. Can just run around with no boots, and it becomes so much harder to manage that PL. There's just so much damage that can fly out now from Jackie.
He wants to get those tier 4 items up now, Jackie. Get himself a flicker. He actually hasn't put the Ags in his bag yet. Guess he'll just wait till he doesn't need his treads anymore, or maybe just get an Aghanim's Blessing. The rest of MG.Trust into that bot lane. They want to get another team fight started. They still have the Aegis. Trying to make it work. There's your Mjolnir now on your Page. He does have a bit of better wave clear here for Jackie. Let's pop the active immediately onto himself to be able to sustain himself through the illusion damage.
Oh.
Azeroth's got an arena in the backlines and killed off Playhard apparently.
JG.
JG trying to roll, but it's going to be blocked off by the Mars again. They'll buy back on Playhard, but it is not going to really matter. They've already lost JG. What's BT thinking? It's at 99% right now. Jackie going to rush in onto your Page. Mjolnir not doing too much right now. Jackie is just too tanky for that item. Your Page still trying to fight back with the Sprout and the TP out now. He'll be alright. Aegis does expire. The Q, a great toss back. He got Scam on the Drow. They've got the Fortress End falling in, and Scam is going to die, and that's GG. They just didn't get enough objectives early on.
They played it way too slow. The timing of Yupaj on the Orchid, it was on point, but they only killed Jackie once. So the PL got way too much space to grow big. Neon, it was looking good early on, just couldn't maximize it. MG.Trust though, bouncing back from a slower start, making the most of their draft, finding those openings. It was a very slow start, Mike. For a long time, it was just a 1k difference between both sides. From that one fight in mid, it just turned all the way around, and MG.Trust, if they maintain that performance, they can easily look to continue their journey. Neon, their life's on the line here, Mike. Got to pull something out here in game 2 to force a third game. Otherwise, they might end up going home early from the playoffs.
We'll find out how it all pans out. It is MLP Dota and JohnXFire. We'll see you all again in about 10 minutes for that second game.